Bar diagram, as I told you, they are drawn in the form of bars. They can be drawn vertically or they can be drawn horizontally, both ways. Now first we will take how the bars are drawn vertically with the example. Now here there is one example. Draw a vertical bar diagram to represent the given figures relating to manufacturing of cars. Now this table is given to you. The figures are given in the form of a table here. These figures give you the detail about manufacturing of cars in a particular region. Now here the years are given and number of cars are shown here. Now years 2008, 2009, 10, 11, 12 and 13 and the number of cars in each year in thousands, right. So cars we are showing here not only 150 but all the figures are in 1000. Now for drawing the diagram, what we will do, you will draw two axes OY and OX axis as it is drawn here. On the OY axis you will take the variable, that is cars, number of cars in 1000. Now when you draw the diagram, always you have to, for bar diagram you have to draw two axes and OY is the vertical axis, OX is the horizontal axis. Remember this, if you write X over here that will be wrong. OY will be vertical, OX will be the horizontal axis. Now here number of cars are taken on the vertical axis and years we have taken on the X axis, that is horizontal axis. Now secondly, when you draw the axis, you have to divide the axis into equal parts. How to divide or how to decide that how many parts you have to take or what description you or what data you are going to show on this axis. Now on the vertical axis where you are showing number of cars, for this first you see that what is the minimum number over here and what is the maximum, right. Here the maximum data is 280, that means you can take from 0 to 300. If you take more than that, there will be wastage of paper, right, and you need the figures from 0 to 300, though you do not have figure between 0 to 100, but equal division you have to make over here. So you will take from 0 to 300 and divide this axis in equal parts. For proper diagram there should be equal distribution starting from 0 and the interval will be the same in each case. Here as I have taken here, this is 50, then 100, then 50, that means gap of 50. You should not take these figures, otherwise it will be wrong. You have to divide the axis equally, because when you are dividing the axis you have not drawn the bars. Bars are drawn on the basis of these figures but not the axis. Only the upper limit is considered over here, that till what figure we need to take the length of bar, right. Now OX axis, that is showing the years. Here again 2008 is the first one and the last is 2013. So accordingly we divide it into equal parts here, right. 2008 and 2013 till here we will divide the axis. Now after this, after dividing the axis in equal parts, and another thing, don't forget to label the axis, because if you do not label the axis properly, then your diagram has no meaning. And in the exam also, when you draw the diagram, if you do not label the axis, you do not name the axis, you will get 0. So labeling of diagram is very important. Until and unless you label it, nobody can understand the diagram, what does it show, right. So OY axis will label number of cars in 1000 as it is given here. Same way this axis you will name as years as given in the data. Now the next step what is, you just read the data and accordingly draw the length of bars. For example, 2008, number of cars are 150. So, draw a line till 150 and make a bar like this. Second is 100, again draw a line and make a rectangle like this. All rectangles are known as bars here. Now, according to data given here, for each year you are supposed to draw the bars according to their numerical value and taking this into consideration. Now, one thing I should tell you here, always remember that when you are drawing the bars, these bars should be of equal width. It should not be such that one bar is very broad and one is narrow. All the bars should have equal width. That means width wise they are equally broad, right, as you can see here, but the length of the bar, how it is governed? It is governed on the basis of these figures. So, width will be the same whatever you take, but length will be on the basis of this given data. This is clear. Now, again I want to tell you here that when you are taking the width of the bars, although it should be the same, but do not make the bars which are unusually broad or which looks very broad, because obviously the diagram will not look very good, because the shape of the diagram or the appearance of the diagram is also equally important. So, you have to present the diagram in a beautiful manner, right. So, take the breadth of the or width of the bars which is appealing to the eye. So, remember always this length of the bar is on the basis of this data and width has to be the same, and that is according to your choice, but not very broad, right. Another thing what you should remember here, that the gap between each bar, as you see here, that should always be the same, right. Each bar should have same gap. Why? Because when you divide the axis OX equally, then obviously the gap will be the same, and when you are taking the width equal, then also it will give the equal gap between the bars. And this way when you present the bar, don't it look good? This is a neat and clean way of showing the bar diagram. This is called simple bar, and this is also, let me tell you, this is known as one dimensional simple bar, in which only one bar is given and length of the bar is on the basis of data given and breadth is same and the distance is to be kept equal, right. Now, this, as I told you, this is known as simple bar diagram, which can be drawn either vertically as it is drawn here, or it can be drawn horizontally. But when only one bar is showing the data, or the data is represented with the help of only one bar, one type of bar, one bar for each variable, then this is known as simple bar. But there are the two other type of bars also, that is known as double bar and triple bar, that we will take later. But here we have taken only simple bar, and in this example we have taken only vertical bar diagram. Now, same data can be represented in the form of horizontal bar also, right. But here, for example, I have given you another data, another variable, so that you can understand that how the other variable can also be shown with the help of simple bar. Or let us take another example to show the bar diagram, simple bar. This bar diagram, what you see here, this is a horizontal bar, right. That was vertical, that is straight line, and here the bars are in the horizontal form. That does not mean that you have turned the page. The page is in the same form, but the bars are shown in the horizontal way, not in the vertical form. And remember that here the variable is taken on the x-axis and the number of students are taken over the y-axis. Now here the example here shows students and marks. In a class, suppose there are some students, we are talking in terms of group maybe A, B, C, D, E, F. There are different groups of students and each group is getting marks like this: 300, 250, 200, 150, 150. These are the marks given to each group. Now here, when you draw the diagram, this is again the simple bar diagram. Why? Because only one bar is showing the data, or data is depicted with the help of only single type of bar. Now marks are given on the OX axis, students we have taken on the OY axis. Remember the length of the bar here is again on the basis of data given, right? As you see here, on the basis of given data, we have taken the length of the bar, right? Now here by chance it is in the decreasing order, that does not mean that it will be decreasing order, it can be any data, right? Maybe increasing, then decreasing, maybe again increasing. So it can be any way, but you have to keep this in mind that each bar should be matching with the data given here, and length of the bar is only on the basis of this data. And again remember that each bar will be of same width, right, and the gap between each bar should be the same. You have to maintain equal distance between each bar, but only the length will vary according to the given data. And here again remember, don't forget to label the axis. As I told you, labeling is equally very important. So this way we have taken horizontal bar diagram and we have taken vertical bar diagram. Now children, after completing the simple bar diagram or bar chart, we next move to the multiple bar diagrams. As the word denotes, multiple. Here in the multiple bar diagram, we have multiple bars, right? Now in the simple bar diagram, we had only single bar. Now here we have multiple bars in bar diagram. Now here multiple, in this we have double bar diagram and triple bar diagram. That means 2 adjacent bars are drawn or 3 bars are drawn in a set, but it will not be more than 3. Otherwise the data will become, or you can say the diagram will become more complicated or complex. So in the multiple bar diagram we don't have multiple bars but only either 2 or 3. Whereas in simple bar diagram we have only single bar. Now this is the example I have taken for double bar chart. In the double bar chart, 2 variables are given. That means whenever you have to compare the data of 2 variables, then this double bar chart is drawn. For example, if you are comparing the data given in a particular year, birth rate and death rate, you have to make the comparison between birth rate and death rate, or you can say any other comparison, like for example export or import. So this type of data, whatever, in which there are 2 variables and you have to make the comparison between 2 variables, then double bar diagrams are more suitable. Now here we have taken the example of birth rate and death rate. I know you must be familiar with the term birth rate. Birth rate is what? The rate at which the number of children born per 1,000 per year, right? This is birth rate, and death rate is number of people dying per 1,000 per year, that is known as death rate. So here we have got the data of birth rate and death rate. and you have to compare that how many are born in a particular year and how many are dying in a particular year, then this is showing two variables and you can make the comparison by drawing two adjacent bars. Now let us take the example of this with the help of diagram. Here you see the diagram I have given. This is on the basis of the data of birth rate and death rate. Now here again, as in the simple bar diagram I told you, on the OX axis, that is horizontal axis, we will take the years, and this OY axis, this shows birth rate and death rate, right. Now here you see that two bars are drawn, that means each year is showing two set of bars, right. Now one bar shows birth rate in this one set, one is showing birth rate, another is showing the death rate. Similarly, for another year we have different set of two bars. Now here keep certain things in mind when you are drawing the multiple bar or double bar chart. One thing, that two adjacent bars are drawn, in between there is no gap. Two bars will be joined together as shown here. There is no gap between two bars. That means one set of bars that is joined together. But the gap between each set of bars, that is same as it was in the case of simple bar diagram. Always maintain the same gap, right. So in this, children, you have to draw two adjacent bars, and the length of the bar again depends upon the given data here, right. As I have one example, I have take 1951 to 60, the birth rate was 42 and the death rate was 23. So this was 42 and this was 23, right. So this shows one bar which has dots in it, this shows birth rate and this shows death rate. Again, to indicate the symbols of this, you have to make the index here. This index is also known as legend, Legend. This is either you name it index or you can name it legend. Now here this box is indicating that similar to this box, this is birth rate, and similar to the other one, this is death rate. So both the bars has two different symbols, and this you have to indicate here in the legend or in the index, so that the reader or the person who is reading the diagram, he can immediately make out that this particular bar is showing birth rate and the other one is showing the death rate. And again in 1961 to 70, it is 41 birth rate and 19 this thing death rate. This is 41 and this is 19, right. So this way two bars are joined together to make a set of data, and here with the help of this type of distribution you can easily make out that birth rate is high and out of this much is the death rate. So the comparison you can make, and in different years you can say that birth rate has declined here and side by side death rate has also declined. So with the help of graph or diagram you can make the analysis that birth rate was high in 1951 as well as death rate was also high, but later on it is declining till 2001 to 11, right. Or in a particular year if it is increasing, then the bar will also go high. This will show that there was an increase a particular year, then again there may be a decrease. So with the help of this distribution of data or with the help of double bar chart, you can make the analysis or you can compare a birth rate and death rate with the help of double bar chart. Is that clear to you? So this is what I told you about double bar chart, right. Now after this, as I told you, this is a multiple bar diagram. So as I told you, this is the double bar chart. Similarly, we have triple bar chart. And remember, I told you that it should not be more than 3 bars. Stick to maximum 3 bars together. And if you have to show another data, then you can make another diagram for that. Now here triple bar chart. See here, this I have not taken any data, just I want to do the comparison over here of the production of different occupational sectors. What are occupational sectors? This is that on the basis of different type of occupation or activities carried on. We have 3 main sectors. These are primary sector, secondary sector and tertiary sector. Primary sector includes agriculture and its allied activities or related activities. Secondary sector includes all manufacturing industries, and the tertiary sector includes transport, communication and all type of services. So we have 3 main sectors in the economy in which all the activities are divided. Now here we are taking the percentage share in gross domestic product in different sectors in India. This is different sectors in India. Now what is meant by gross domestic product? This is also called, in short we call it GDP. This stands for gross domestic product. Now what does it mean? G stands for gross, that means total. D for domestic, this means domestic here means within the domestic territory of the country or within the country, not including the production outside the country. And production, gross domestic production or product means production. So total production within the domestic territory of the country, that is GDP. So this data gives you percentage share in gross domestic product in different sectors in India. That means how much is the contribution of each sector, primary, secondary and tertiary, in the GDP of India. This is percentage share we are taking. So here we have not taken any particular data, though it can be on the basis of data also, or it should be on the basis of data, then only you can find out the length. Now I have given you the example how 3 bars are drawn. Data can be in this form only, 3 different sectors data may be given, and on the basis of that you will draw 3 adjacent bars, that again as it was in double bar chart, 2 bars were joined together. Same way here in triple bar chart, 3 bars are joined together to make a set of bars, right. So here 3 bars are, one is indicating for primary. Now again the same symbols you have to show here, so that at a glance a person can make out that which bar is indicating what, right. So first is primary, then secondary, then tertiary. So 3 sectors contribution is given in different years, and again you have to keep in mind the width of all the bars is the same, only the length varies according to the given data, or the set of bars will have same gap, right. Maintain the features what I told you earlier, same thing you have to follow here. And remember one thing, the bars when you are making double bar or triple bar, always children remember one thing, that whatever symbol you are using for particular variable in the another set also, same symbol should be used. And besides this, if you are taking primary first, then secondary, then tertiary, in the second set also follow the same pattern, right. And for primary, if you are using one particular symbol, in all the sets for primary you will use the same symbol. For secondary there should be only one symbol, and for tertiary or the third bar there should be, or third variable, there should be only one type of symbol or sign. It may be colors also. If you are using colors, you can use 3 different colors, but maintain this thing that for primary you will always use only one shade of color to show one variable, right. So, this is the triple bar chart, right. So, this way I told you what is simple bar or double bar and the triple bar. So, this type of distribution you can show with the help of any kind of bar out of these 3 depending upon the type of data given to you. If only one variable is given, you will draw simple bar. If 2 variables are there, draw the double bar chart.